On today's Sunday Stupid, a TikTok Flat Earth special. What could possibly go wrong? How do, dearest viewer, and welcome back to my little corner of the YouTubies and yet another Thriller Millennium episode of the Sunday Stupid. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, before we move on, please like, share, subscribe. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. And massive shout out to my amazing patrons, Sven Bellens, Bob Sadler, Alan L, and Christo Bergero, and to my amazing channel members, Sven Bellens again, and Cheeky Vlogs. Thank you all so very much. Now, before we get into the meat and two veg of this video, first, a video popped up on my YouTube recommendations, and I must admit, the first time watching it, it made me feel physically sick. I'm going to play it for you now in its entirety and see what you think.
Unfortunately, while he was in jail, instead of the psychiatrist seeing him, a psychologist saw him and basically let him out of 24-hour suicide watch, put him in the general population after interviewing him for 5 minutes. And my son committed suicide with a bed sheet in the bathroom.
In the jail?
Yes, inside the jail.
At 18 years of age?
At 18 years of age.
And you think the teaching of evolution had something to do with that?
It had everything to do with that.
If your son had seen my video series as a teenager, would that have made a difference to him?
Absolutely would have saved his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
The words that I want to say, I can't say because I'll probably get banned from YouTube. But Hovind, if you're watching, Dr. Wannabe, you really are the most disgusting piece of filth it has been my displeasure ever to come across. You call yourself a man of God. You are using the most traumatic experience that a mother could ever go through to plug your young earth creationist agenda. Even worse than that, you are using the most traumatic experience that a mother could ever go through to plug your DVDs. You are using the most traumatic experience a mother could ever go through as a weapon to bash evolution with. You really are the lowest of the low, Hovind. You really are. And if there was a perfect example of evolution going backwards, you are it. Anyway, let's get off Hovind because I just feel dirty. And let's move on to some flat earth proofs that I've found on TikTok.
We're not spinning. Not at all. Air travel wouldn't work on a spinning ball. I know you're probably going to say we've got gravity. That's the catch-all lie that makes everything work. Why people aren't flinging off into space. It's not real. Gravity's not real. You can look at my profile and see some of the different posts that I've made with this camera, that phone. Seashells floating on water because they displace more water than the weight of the shell. That's buoyancy. It'll fall through the air because it's heavier than the air, more dense than the air, and then it'll float on the water if it's not contained with water. A feather will fall through the air, float on the water. More dense than the air, less dense than the water. I'm trying to show you a world that maybe you haven't seen from this perspective.
Well, a couple of things, Mr. Flurf. First of all, aeroplanes. They've been fitted, especially modern aeroplanes, they've been fitted what's called steering. They're able to steer. So in no way, shape or form does an aeroplane or aeroplane flights prove a flat earth. And plus, if you go high enough, you can actually see the curvature of the earth out the bloody window. And the objects that you describe that are falling, why are they falling towards the ground? Why always towards the ground? Why not up, where it's less dense? Why not sideways, where it's, the density is equal? Why always down? And you mentioned buoyancy as well. Mr. Flurf, please look up the formula for buoyancy and tell me what that little G stands for. That was easy. Let's go on with the next one, shall we?
If you think the Earth is a globe, stop
This is for all
scrolling.
you globe people. That's the moon right there. And you see how the light is shining off those clouds? If that shit was really outer space, 27 billion light years away, it should be space lighted up between the clouds too, shouldn't it? It's dark out here. Them clouds over there too, you can't see them. But it's casting a goddamn shadow on these clouds right here. I think this right here is local, man. The moon and the sun has to be local, because if that was the case, if it wasn't the case, outer space would be lit up. But let me know what y'all.
Oh dear, oh dear. No, the moon is about 240,000 miles away. And the reason why space is black is because light travels in straight lines until it hits something, and then light scatters and then illuminating the whole thing. Google is your friend, and it's mine too. The old coin trick, you sneaky little devil. A couple of things here. The sun isn't shrinking, is it, as it goes down in your video? And the coin in your video is shrinking the further it moves away. And a third thing here. Next time you try and do a video like that, at least put the camera level with the tabletop instead of just below it. You deceptive little flurf.
The sun, that's how big it is. Looks a lot bigger until you put a filter on it.
This one just isn't even worth commenting on, is it? Let's move on to the next one, shall we?
Outer space is completely fake. It is impossible to leave the Earth. The Earth is a closed system with a dome surrounding the entire flat Earth plane. It's known as the firmament. And you can't get through. They've tried. The United States government has tried to get through the firmament. It's impossible. Look up Operation Fishbowl. They actually tried to crack a hole in the firmament or dome using nuclear bombs. They couldn't do it. Richard Branson, he never went to space. Elon Musk never sent a car into space. We never went to the moon. The moon landing is completely fake. Why do you think we've never gone back? NASA said they destroyed the technology? That makes no sense. You can't leave the Earth because of the firmament.
Wow, a lot to unpack there, my little indoctrinated friend. But let's have a go. Space is fake. No, it isn't. The Earth is a closed system, yes, but not for the reasons that you think the Earth is a closed system. What you are describing, my little indoctrinated friend, is an isolated system where energy and matter can't transfer. But the Earth is a closed system because it naturally transfers energy outside the atmosphere. So there you go. The firmament, no, the Americans didn't try and crack it open. Operation Fishbowl was a high altitude nuclear test, and that was, what, 1962? Definitely the early 60s, I think 1962 if memory serves. Yes, Branson did go to space. Nobody's proved it fake. Elon Musk did send a car up there. Nobody's proved that fake either. Yes, we landed on the moon. Nobody's proved that fake either. Yes, the technology was destroyed because the Apollo mission was complete. Why would you keep something that's going to be out of date and obsolete in 10 years' time? And yes, we're going back to the moon sometime within the next decade. That was easy. Let's get on with the next one, shall we?
What happens when the moon comes around the Earth? How come the Earth's gravity holds onto the moon and the sun's gravity doesn't pull on the moon?
It does pull on the moon.
Oh, so when the moon comes back around this way, it slows down?
I mean, a very, very small amount.
No, it doesn't. You're making things up because they don't even say
It's
that.
Negligible, like it's just not like it's not like mathematically relevant.
So the sun is able to hold on to the Earth and Mars and Saturn and Jupiter and Neptune and Pluto, but it can't hold on to the moon.
I mean, it is by means of the Earth. The Earth is just much closer, so it's orbiting the Earth. If the Earth wasn't there, it would orbit the sun.
But the sun is able to hold on to Pluto, which is magnitudes farther than the moon. But it can't hold on to the moon.
It is holding on to the moon.
No, it's not.
Well, Mr. DITRH, or whatever the flipping heck your name is, why is it that you just get everything so wrong? And you're asking questions that 12-year-olds could answer. And you know these answers yourself, you just won't accept them. Those two guys did a pretty good job of explaining it to you, but of course, you're a denier. So let's elaborate on what they've said, right? The reason why the moon doesn't get sucked into the sun is because there's an enormous freaking planet next to it. Compared to the moon's side, this is an enormous planet with a greater gravitational attraction, so it's caught in Earth's orbit and not the sun's. Much the same thing's happening with Pluto. It's not orbiting a planet, so it's therefore caught in the sun's gravity. If it ventured too close to a planet, a massive planet like, for instance, Jupiter or Neptune or what have you, it might get caught up in that gravitational field and then start orbiting that planet. It's perfectly simple to understand. Any high school student will tell you this. DITRH. I can think of another word beginning with D that might be more appropriate for you, but I'm not going to say it here. And there we go, another Sunday Stupid, all done, dusted and delivered for your viewing displeasure in under 12 minutes. Wow, must be some sort of record for me. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Please consider supporting the channel by becoming a Patreon or a channel member, or you can support the channel just by liking, sharing, subscribing and commenting. Please join me in the next one. It will be this Wednesday for a Wacky Wednesday video, 8 PM. So I will see you all then. Take care, everybody, and ta-ra for a bit.